Hi everybody, it's Elaine here, the Animal Reiki Lady. Thank you so much for joining me. Today our topic is going to be about something a little bit emotional, so if you want to go maybe grab a tissue, might come in handy because we're going to be talking about what happens when our pets transition. And my name is Elaine, for those of you who may be catching one of my videos for the very first time. My name is Elaine, I'm the Animal Reiki Lady, and I help people prepare for and cope with the loss of their pets, among other things. I help people heal and build relationships with their animal companions. I help people and animals overcome trauma. But for this particular video, we're going to be very specifically talking about animals who have crossed the Rainbow Bridge. So some of you may not know that I work with a pet funeral home, essentially. It's a pet cremation service. And I know right away that kind of gets everybody thinking, it just makes, even the word makes people tense. So that's what I want to help calm down. I want to help us ease our understanding of that. I would love to actually shift the whole narrative around the passing of our pets, and maybe one video at a time, that's what I'm doing. But what I want to specifically talk about today is the greatest act of love that our animals give to us at the moment that they cross. And it is truly an act of love. So why this came up with is because I work at this funeral home, and yesterday I was helping a client. I help clients at their most vulnerable moment, right after their pet has transitioned, and they bring their animal to us for aftercare. And so I am there to help them on a very personal level at one of the most vulnerable times of their life. So their animal has recently crossed, and yesterday the client that came to me was with a cat, and her cat had just passed, and of course she was bereft and very emotional, and I helped them work through those emotions, which is what I also hope to help you folks do. Work through that grief and learn how to set aside that grief. And yesterday, the cat was a perfect, beautiful example of how we can step outside of grief and make this a very meaningful, loving, compassionate moment. So when this person came to me yesterday with their cat in their arms, still wrapped in a blanket, and she said to me, I was so sad. I knew that my cat was 20 years old. And cats live amazingly beautiful long lives. I knew that it was my cat's time. I had been preparing for a couple of days. I sensed that she was ready to cross, and it made me very sad. And I was so sad, and I didn't want to set her down. And I had her in my lap for almost 24 hours as she was going through her final moments. This is the story that she's relaying to me. And she said, and when the time came, I was so sad, and the tears were just so flowing, and I knew as I looked down at her that she was going to go. And she said, all of a sudden, in that very moment, something shifted. When my kitty cat took her last breath, and her name was Coco, when Coco took her last breath, she filled me with the most amazing feeling of love. She said, I've never felt anything like it. When Coco passed, it was at the actual moment of her passing. The grief was gone, and instead she filled me with such a beautiful sense of the deepest sense of love that I've ever felt. Those were her words to me. And then she said, was that normal? and I said, normal? You were just granted the most amazing gift you can possibly get. And yes, it is normal. So I want to share with you guys, and I shared with her the same story of my Lucy. I've shared this story before. When Lucy crossed in August of 2020, my black lab, it was something that we assisted her with. There's other videos that talk about this if you'd like to watch those, and I'll know that I'll talk about it again and again. When Lucy crossed last year, it was planned. I sat down with her in a space of meditation, and coming from a place of pure love and compassion, knowing that her quality of life had shifted, and she looked at me with those eyes, the eyes that said, Mom, I can't do this even one more day. And from a place of love, I and her veterinarian made the decision to assist her with her crossing. And it was a beautiful summer day in August, and we went to the veterinarian's office. I have a beautiful relationship, which I encourage you to do as well. I have a, sorry, I have a beautiful, loving, compassionate relationship with my veterinarian, a very open communication, I am not afraid to communicate anything to my veterinarian, and he knows all about what I do. And so when I went there with Lucy, we sat in the backyard of the veterinarian's office. This was during the middle of lockdown when, right, we're not allowed to do anything. I sat in the backyard with Lucy, and we had a beautiful space for her. And ritual and ceremony was part of it. That's also a topic for another time. But we sat there and opened a beautiful space for her. Everything was filled with compassion. She was having a beautiful, amazing day, actually. She was having a very good day. And I think that I'm happy for that, for her, that her day was good. Not that I had to go with her. And she seemed to be a little bit free of pain, almost as if she had come to peace with her own decision of crossing to the Rainbow Bridge. And so we sat in the backyard, and there were 4 of us, and she sat across our laps, and the sun was shining, and the ritual was complete, and it was time for her to cross. And for Lucy, she took one big, beautiful breath. I saw her lungs expand. She took this most amazing inhale, and on the exhale, when she released, she sent all of us, every fiber of our being, every cell in our body, everything, every part of me felt this most deep, profound sense of love. And it wasn't just me, it was all of us. The veterinarian said to me, "Whoa, did you just feel that?" And I said, "Yes, I felt that. I know exactly what it was." She granted us the most amazing act of love. Her crossing was the most selfless thing she had ever done. And when she crossed into that place of pure perfection, she shared that love with us in a way that none of us had ever felt before. That is the catalyst that opened the door for me, guys. That is the catalyst. The second she did that, something inside me shifted that allows me now to have a stronger relationship with her than I even had while she was here with me physically on earth. Our spiritual connection is so strong now. She is the one who gives to me so many of the messages that I share with you. And I should have grabbed my own tissue. She is the one who has opened my heart and soul to all of this, to be able to share this with you. So that is one of the first things that I want to share with you, is if you are granted the gift of being present with them during their last breath, shift the way you're thinking about it. And if you can't, they'll do it for you. It helps the grief subside. It helps that grief almost like fly away on little wings. It helps the grief dissipate when you know that they're going to a place of pure, perfect love, and then they share that love with you. And it's not just love. It is an act of love that they are filling you with this peace and beauty and love, knowing that you can remain spiritually connected with them, even though they have left their little physical bodies. What I have learned when I first started to practice this, my goal, and this was before Lucy crossed, my goal with Animal Reiki was to be able to help animals overcome trauma, to be able to help them heal from illness, injury, and whatever trauma they had experienced in their little lives. And what I quickly learned was that they are the ones who heal us. And what if their purpose here on earth, and their purpose is more than just to be our companion and to be our pet, what if their purpose is to teach us, to show us, to help us to become better people, to help us to grow? And I think one of the ways that they do that, I've often wondered about the question, why do they die so soon? Why do they leave us so early? Why aren't they here for our whole lifetime? And I think because they have a greater gift to give us, and it happens at death. We have a fear of death, right? We have a fear of death. We have a fear of loss. Even the thought of it can causes us to constrict and causes us to not even want to address it or prepare for it, right? People don't want to prepare for it. And what if one of the things that they're here to teach us is how to shift the way that we feel about that? Because we can open our hearts for them and we can become more loving. And I think one of the reasons that we fear their loss and fear their death is because They are our direct connection to God. Now, I use the word God, and it can be God, Allah, Buddha, Spirit, Krishna, Source, the universe, whatever. I don't care what you call it. That thing we're all connected to, that connection that we all long for, we feel they are our direct connection. And perhaps when we fear their loss, it's because we're going to fear the loss of that connection. But I'm here to share from my personal perspective and from all of the animals that I have worked with, either close to their transition or right after their transition, at the moment of their transition. All the animals that I've had the honor to work with have shown me that the connection gets stronger. My connection to that, we all want that peek behind the veil. My connection to the other side, my connection to Source, my connection to God has grown so much deeper since Lucy crossed. And so I feel that she has given me her greatest gift of love. The greatest act of love that she could ever give to me came at the moment of her crossing. And yesterday when Coco shared that story, because I say it as Coco sharing the story, when Coco's human companion shared her story with me, it's not the first time that I've heard that, and it won't be the last. And so I encourage you, if your animal has already crossed, to know that you can still connect with them spiritually, that you can set aside, and I know that grief goes on, and I still cry over my Lucy, but know that you can have a relationship with them even though they're gone. Know that you can, and we'll talk about what happens if you're not. Sometimes with cats, right? I've kind of gotten off track a little bit here, but sometime with cats, they will they hide. They'll go someplace. Sometimes they leave the home when it's time for them to cross. That Coco took a very brave step and stayed in her human companion's arms so that she could feel that gift of love. It is the greatest thing, the most selfless act that they can ever do for us. And I want you to know that you can make that connection. That's where I was going. I want you to know that you can make that connection with your animal companion, whether they are about to cross tomorrow, whether they crossed yesterday, or whether it's been 5 years ago. You can tap into that love. They'll never deny you. And that's some other things that we can talk about too, is how to make that connection. But just go into a quiet space in your mind, say their name, invite them to join you, ask them to show you something. Sometimes this is best done before bed. Ask them to share with you, and they will absolutely share. Okay, that's what I had for you today, guys. I'll keep going on this topic. And as always, I'm supposed to say this, subscribe to the channel because it helps to get the message out there to more and more people who have animal companions that are about to cross. You can like this video, and if you have any comments, it is your topics and your questions that I love to answer. So if there is anything at all you would like me to talk about your relationship with your animal companion, about an animal who has already transitioned, about how I connect with animals, about how you can connect with animals, you just put it in the comments below. I also want to let you know that if you want to be on the cutting edge as I am doing the things that I do, if you're feeling that pull, I have all kinds of trainings, and I'll put links below. The newest one is going to come up December 14th. Yep, I am not one of those people who takes a break for the holidays, because our pets don't take a break for the holidays, and I have to tell you that over the holidays is one of the times when, for a reason that I don't quite know, that I haven't quite wrapped my mind around, or that I haven't quite gotten an answer to yet, is that around the holidays when a lot of our animals choose to transition. So I don't take a break. And if you want to learn to do what I do, I'll post that link. The next online session starts, and my online sessions are virtual live. So it's not like some pre-recorded webinar or anything. Starts December 14th, and it lasts for 8 weeks. And then if you just want some personal help, if you're an individual who is seeking a little bit of coaching or a little bit of mentoring about your own relationship with your animal companion, or your animal's about to transition and you would like to know how to really create space for them and how to make this a time of peace and calm and reduce their confusion and pain, I can help you with that too. So I put all those links in the comments. You put your comments in the comments. You can put a comment that also lets me know if you'd like a question answered. All right. May the animals light your way. I love you guys so much. Take care. Bye.